And good morning, everyone. This is another day in Lithuania, Vilnius, and today is not a martial arts day, but today is still a very interesting one because I am going to challenge myself and go out of the comfort zone because I believe that is essential for our development and our lives. There's a bit of a backstory. I have heard of a person years ago who would walk half naked in the Everest, and scientists would put him in extreme cold conditions and would evaluate his condition, and he would be able to be there without experiencing any damage or a lot of discomfort to degrees where a normal human being would be supposed to pretty much die. And that person has created a program to teach others how to do the same. And it happens so that a person actually who knows me from my YouTube channel, dedicated instructor of that person's program, and he's teaching this seminar in Vilnius today, how to kind of control yourself using various techniques that you would be able to be in cold conditions and you would be able to handle it without any problem. Now, the interesting side to that is that I hate cold. I go through a lot of trouble to make sure that I would not have to experience cold. Like right now I'm wearing thermal clothes and a good jacket, although it's not that cold. So I don't like cold. I don't like cold. If I can choose not to go into cold, I don't. And in the past I used to meditate. I used to do breathing techniques myself. So if I really want to, yes, I can deal with it, but I normally try not to deal with any cold weather. And when this person invited me to do this, to participate in the seminar, I thought, I have to do this. You have to always, my part of my life philosophy is you have to go out of your comfort zone. You have to face things which you do not like, which you do not enjoy. And this is a great chance and moment for me to do it. So I'll take you together with me on this journey and I'll introduce you to everything that's happening. You'll get to see some of this cool stuff and how they teach it. So yeah, it's going to be a good and cold day because I think I forgot to tell you, from what I know, we're going to dive into cold baths. So let's get this journey started. Turns out Google Maps isn't always right, and it took me to the wrong place. So luckily there's a person who's going to come and pick me up with the car since I am carless today. And I think, is that it? Let me see. Yo, šau.
Fantazija yra geresnė, gali daryti kaip aš mėgstu.
So, Jonas, it's a pleasure.
Me too.
So it's great to see you again. And just to let the audience know, it's the next day after the, would you say a seminar?
Wim Hof
workshop?
Method workshop.
Workshop, right.
Yeah.
Since we didn't have a chance to have a good full talk after, right now we are in a cafe, meeting up and having this nice chat about everything. How you came to the Wim Hof method, what brought you there?
Do you want a long story or an extra long story?
Let's do medium. Yeah.
Most of my life I was always looking for fears. As I mentioned previously, what you heard was that I believe that you have to improve yourself every single day. If you don't improve yourself every single day, then what's the point? Like at least a little bit. So I was always looking for fears because fear is a greatest example of your weakness. If you're weak of something, you're afraid of it. As an example, most of the people are afraid of heights, only because they never actually got used to being there. So it was the same for me with ice, with water, with cold. Once I was standing just right in front of the hole in a lake while there was like -17, and I was scared as hell. I thought I'm gonna die, but I managed to jump in. I jumped out. I was all like, I was steaming. Like literally, there was steams coming off of my body. It was beautiful. For the next 2 months, I was asking myself why. Why was I afraid of it? And just simply, bit by bit, for some reason, Wim Hof Method workshop appeared on my Facebook wall. Hey, I went to a workshop. I wasn't prepared at all. As I mentioned before to you, that I had a date after the workshop. That date was very bad because I was into completely different things because my world changed afterwards. Like imagine your world changes and then you go to a date and you hear how someone goes to their hobby is to go to the shop and buy stuff and Netflix and all that stuff. So everything was... First time when I jumped in an ice bath, I remember everything out of it. It felt like ages. I've sat into an ice bath. There was Arthur Paulin's instructor. I went there, he saw that I was all tensed. He asked me to relax, but at that moment I felt the worst probably pain I could have felt in my life, in my like palms and my feet. But after 20-30 seconds it disappeared and the best euphoria ever kicked in. I'm still chasing that dragon. I'm literally still chasing that dragon. I'm still chasing that single feeling.
So we're nearing to the end of the video, and we had a great talk with Jonas, but if you want to listen to the whole thing, just head on to the podcast. There's going to be links below, so just listen to the whole thing as you drive in your car or whatever you prefer. I definitely recommend the talk. We touched a lot of different points, not only about the Wim Hof method, but also about self-development and martial arts. So you're going to have a blast. Apart from that, just to summarize all of my experience, the world of breathing techniques was not new for me because as some of you know, I used to be a yoga instructor, a professional one. Can you believe that? And I used to do a lot of various seminars, including breathing seminars. So a lot of the techniques were familiar to me, but at the same time I can appreciate them because they've given a lot to me, especially in controlling your emotions, such as the one we spoke about a lot, which is fear. Fear is such a barrier to so many of us, and the metaphor that I like to use is that if you have two paths and one is the more efficient path, but in that path there's an object which you fear versus a longer path than the non-efficient path, but it doesn't have the object of your fear. If you're not able to deal with your fears, you will not go through the optimal path. You will choose the less efficient path because you're controlled by your fear. Basically, you're not making the decisions you want to make, you're making the decisions which are more comfortable for you. And the secret and the thing about fear is that people misunderstand oftentimes the difference between courage and not having fear. Courage is not about not having fear. Courage is the ability to act despite fear. Whatever tools you may get and you may use in order to go over your fears and deal with them, I highly suggest to do that. And breathing techniques or going into cold, if that's your thing, if that's what you're afraid of, do it and overcome that and become able to overcome your fears and choose the path in your life which you want to choose. Now, dealing with cold is one thing, but dealing with your fears is so much better. So any methodology that can help you do that, I think it's awesome. to do it. Obviously, I could talk about this forever, but this is not the last video. We're gonna touch various subjects as we go on. And the last thing I wanted to say in this one is there's a lot of awesome content coming up your way. I am preparing to make a big shift in my life, and I will let you know about that next week, so stay tuned. But all in all, as always, thank you for watching for the whole video. As always, it's impressive you're staying for so long. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and we'll connect up in the next video.